Forget the fairy tale. America's teen girls are not buying the marriage dream. New Pew research shows only 61% of 12th grade girls expect to marry somebody. That's a sharp drop from 83% in 1993. And for the first time, more boys than girls see marriage in their future, 74% of them. Experts say fewer fairy tale movies and a bigger emphasis on education, success, and independence are shifting what happily ever after means. The survey also shows a decline in expected parenthood, with only 48% of teens thinking they'll likely have children, down from 64% in 1993. Be sure to download Fox Local for live streaming, news, and more.
Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda Stranad and here is Belinda Boros. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload video, you will be the first person to be notified. To my returning subscribers, to those people that share my videos, leave commentaries and also educate each and every one of us. You guys are the real MVP. So lovelies, let's dive in today's videos and we're just going to come back to talk about it.
I cannot imagine a more humiliating indictment of Gen Z men than the fact that Gen Z women have decided that they're no longer interested in marriage. They've met enough of these Gen Z men and they have no interest in spending the rest of their lives with one of them.
So they really said on live television that the reason why young girls are not wanting to get married anymore is because there aren't enough fairy tale movies, and that too many shows and movies are focused on career, self-improvement, and overall personal happiness. They said that that's the reason. Not the economic conditions, not the glaringly unfair realities of marriage and motherhood, not all the women coming online and accidentally exposing how terrible their lives are as a result of weaponized incompetence. It's not that. In fact, a lot of the research is pointing towards social media as the biggest driver for this kind of movement and change, because when your eyes are open, it's clear to see.
Men, what would you do if your girl rejects your wedding proposal? Not because she doesn't love you, not because you don't love her, but because you bought it from a cheap brand. Well, that's exactly what's going on in today's story, right? A dude took time to prepare for 1 year to save up money so he could buy a ring to propose to his woman. And he managed to save up enough money and went to Walmart and bought the ring from Walmart and organized an event and then proposed to the girl. She was all excited for the event and everything. Except when he gave her the ring, she rejected it because the ring cost $898 at Walmart. For those of you who don't know what Walmart is pretty much where poor people shop, right? And even the rings there will not be as high quality as some branded supermarkets or like brand makers. Anyways, do you think that this guy should continue to pursue this woman, or should he give up on her, right? Is she just a gold digger? Or should he have listened to her and maybe try to find more money to buy the exact brand that she wanted? What's more important? Is it the gesture or is it the material, right? And if she can't love him with a Walmart ring, I mean, we should love him any less if he bought her a $1 million ring? Let me know what you think in the comment section, guys, because this is why relationships don't work these days. You could bust your ass and the person you're with only values the material part of it. They don't even look at the gesture. Let me know what you think.
It's a study going around saying that more little girls don't want to get married and more little boys want to get married. And so someone said, well, a man said, this is terribly wrong. And I'm like, but in the same breath, men will say marriage only benefits women. So wouldn't you be happy that women no longer want something that in your opinion, only benefits them, even though studies has came out and said that it actually benefits men more, and 2 years is added onto a man's life when he's married, and 2 years is taken off of a woman's life when she's married, because women now do all of the household chores while all men have to do is work. So, like, shouldn't that be like a high five for you? Like, yay, women, I don't have to deal with the old ball and chain anymore. I don't have to deal with anybody. Women don't want to get married. Nobody can take my 50 cents in divorce. Like, the Walmart cashier check is safe. Like, you should be happy. They don't want something that benefits them. Everybody should be happy. It's a win-win.
What if a woman says, I don't want to have kids? Like, she just makes her mind up. She says,
no children, period. Even if she get married.
Even if I get married, I don't want no kids. What do you assume of that woman?
I'm assuming there's some trauma.
I'm gonna be honest, even if it does come down to trauma, why does it matter? If the person said they don't want kids, they don't want kids. In reality, could you work through the trauma? Yes. But how are you really gonna know that the trauma and the triggers have gone away? You would literally have to have a kid and say, let's see if you got over it. I'm not willing to take that chance. Are you willing to take that chance? Then we can have the conversation. Unpopular opinion. Some people that don't have kids seem way happier than the people that do have kids. Listen to how I said some. But to double it back to the main beginning, just leave people alone. If they don't want kids, they don't want kids. There's no need to question them. There's no need to sit up there and try to convince them to have kids. They've made a decision. Let them live with their decision. And you know what? I have no problem sticking up for the girlies on this one, because I already know when men say they don't want kids, a lot of people be like, congratulations, I understand. A woman don't want kids. Oh my God, why don't you want to be a mother? That could be the best. Well, guess what? She don't want kids. Leave the woman alone.
So the lady really came to the internet and said that the reason girls don't want to get married anymore is because there aren't enough fairy tale movies. And too many films now geared towards children are apparently all about self-improvement, career, self-development, and actually doing something because it makes you happy. And not making a man the center of your world. You think that's the reason? That's the entire reason. Okay, that's the reason. There's no fairy tale reality. There's no horse-drawn carriage when I wake up in the morning. There's no birds singing to me when I wake up in the morning. There's no beautiful animals in the forest following me and making my life sweet and dandy. No, for a lot of women, it's creepy men of the world making them not even be able to step outside past 7 o'clock freely without thinking something horrific is going to happen to them. And not women finally coming to the realization that marriage and kids, it isn't quite the fantasy that they portrayed. And horrible partners, and many, many women taking on the majority of the workload, yet calling that traditional in the way it should be. And you know what? I would like to consider myself a traditional girly. I'm an advocate for marriage, but I don't blame these people out here who don't want to get married no more. I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
New research showing that the younger generation may not have the same relationship goals that we did and previous generations did. The Pew Research Center says new data from the University of Michigan shows an overall decline in teens wanting to eventually get married. In 2023, only 67% of high school seniors said that they plan to tie the knot, compared to 80% back in 1993. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky in comparison to your talking table. The biggest decrease was seen in girls, more than a 20% drop in the last 30 years. Boys have remained pretty steady, just losing an extra 2% over the same time period. So there are girls that are seniors that are saying, you know what? I'm not sure marriage is for me. I don't have to. So with women deciding to leave the country and high school seniors saying we don't want to get married,
I think men need to step it up.
What the heck are we doing here?
We need an emergency press conference.
Men need to step it up. Maybe that's the thing. But that makes me sad, though.
It does make me sad.
I so believe in the institution of marriage and love when you find the right partner.
Yeah, I do too.
Girls are less likely than boys to want to get married. That's according to new research into American 12th graders. How has this happened? I have a few ideas. First, social lives have retreated online since the pandemic, hobbling teenage boys' already wobbly conversational skills. Second, the intoxicating accessibility of pornography has sapped men's desire to find a real partner. And if they do find one, she may have to put up with his twisted and destroyed ideas about intimacy and pleasure. Finally, a wave of toxic manfluencers have taught boys to blame females for their every failure. Presented with such a rancid romantic buffet, is it any wonder so many wish to remain single? If marriage is to remain the solid contract it once was, then today's young women expect and deserve a better deal from those in their dating pool. When a third of middle-aged female divorcees are happier than they've ever been before, it's no wonder many are thinking of dumping the idea of matrimony for good. Pew put out some survey data recently that has some men pretty concerned. What they did was they asked high school students about their interest in getting married. Comparing data from 1993 to 2023, what they found was that girls' interest in getting married has decreased a fair bit from 83% back in 1993 to only 61% in 2023. Boys' interest in getting married has been relatively steady, 76% in 1993 and 74% in 2023. Given that the prevailing narrative has been women are trying to trap men or restrict men's freedom in some way by getting them to marry us, and that marriage is a ball and chain. We even have men at the aisle about to say their vows, holding up vows that on the back say, "Help me," as though they've been forced into this marriage. You might be surprised to see men saying things like this: something has gone terribly wrong, or that this is disastrous. You would think men would be delighted to see these data, that girls are no longer interested in weighing them down. We're happy for you all to roam free. But instead, somehow seeing the data that girls are less interested in marriage these days is somehow alarming to the very people who didn't want to get married in the first place. There are a lot of reasons for this divergence, and I made a viral video a couple of years ago that went over the ideological differences and the growing ideological gap between men and women across many countries, including the United States. But here's a very concrete example. So this is someone posting about what happened at her high school before she started school. And basically, some of the boys in the high school had created accounts for the girls, and then they had used the usernames as a way to insult the girls. And I'm not gonna read all of these to you, but I hope that you will pause and read what some of these usernames are that they selected for their girl classmates. This teacher has been asking these two questions of high school and college students for about 15 years. Are men and women equal, and should men and women have equal rights under the law? They say this is the first year the majority of young men have answered no to both of those questions. That may seem surprising, but it's very much in line with the data from this large survey of almost 25,000 people across 30 countries. As you see on these 4 items related to gender equality, the largest gap between men and women was seen among the youngest participants. I think that's pretty easy to see across these 4 graphs, whether people define themselves as a feminist, whether they think a man who stays at home to care for children is less of a man, whether men are being expected to do too much to support equality, and whether we have gone so far in promoting women's equality that we're actually discriminating against men. As I've said before, I don't think girls and women being less interested in dating and marriage is a mystery. What is a mystery to me is why the response from men is wanting to antagonize and subjugate women rather than, I don't know, doing better.
People, a woman from New York called off her marriage because she found out her fiance owed $42,000 in arrears in child support. Now, just for context, this couple was dating for 3 years and they never brought up child support. This woman knew this man had kids, but they never brought up child support. She never knew this man was behind on child support. Now, you may be thinking, how did she find out right before they got married? Well, people, they was eating dinner one night and this man made a joke. He said, "Now we going to be married. You know you're going to be responsible for my child support, right?" He was just making a joke and he laughed about it and she took it very serious. That's how she found out this man owed child support. So when this man made the joke about child support and she took it very serious, she said, "Oh my God, I cannot marry a deadbeat. Oh my God." So at this point, this man was really confused. He didn't understand why his fiance was mad because he owed child support. And again, he made a joke. Now, just for context, the man that owed $42,000 in arrears in child support, he had 3 kids with his ex. They was together for 12 years. So when this man realized how serious his fiance was and how angry she was, he told her he do not owe that child support. him and his ex had a very bad breakup, and she lied to the courts, and she told them he didn't do anything for his kids, even though he was always in their life. Now, here's where everything is about to get tricky. His fiance at the time said, if you took care of your kids, did you not have receipts? How can the courts make you pay $42,000 in arrears if you don't owe the money if you took care of your kids? Your baby mom cannot just go and lie like that. This man then told his fiance while they was together he did not think he needed to keep his receipts. He did not think she would lie on him like that. People, true story. This man fiance said, I do not believe you. I believe you was a deadbeat. If you wasn't a deadbeat, you would have kept your receipts and you would have provided proof to the court. She then told him she is not about to marry someone and be responsible for a debt they owe. She then told him his failed child support is not her responsibility. Now get this. People, she have 3 kids. Now, just to be clear, none of this woman's kids is his biological kids, but he treat all of them kids like they his own. He treat them just like they his biological kids. So he then told this woman, I thought we was a family. I take care of your kids like they my own. I love your kids just like my own. Why is you making a big deal about child support that I don't even owe in the first place? People, true story. She said the marriage is over. She's done. She do not want to be with the deadbeat. Who do you think was right or wrong?
It is so much harder to become a wife, to build a family, to serve, love, and nurture a husband than it is to be a businesswoman or a woman with a really successful career. Like, as somebody that had 2 businesses, almost 3, one of them was my full-time career for a pretty long time, and it was my full-time career for the first portion of my marriage. Becoming a wife and stepping into the mindset and becoming the woman that I needed to be for my husband was 10 times harder than any business that I ever started, than jumping from being employed to being a full-time business owner. Becoming a wife was so much harder than any of that.
Babes, I fear you're confusing marriage with indentured servitude. Different contracts, even in 2025. When I got married 1,000 years ago, my husband managed all of the cooking, the laundry, and his residency. I brought very little to the table other than my $50K nonprofit salary and vibes. But listen, even then, I am the last person to tell anybody that marriage isn't hard. And I 100% understand that everyone's marriage is different and everyone's career path is different. But I think the vast majority of us can agree that if you are characterizing your 9-to-5 as an easy breezy escape from your role as wife, that's not a marriage. That's a hostage situation. If you are more of an employee at home than you are at work, you need to investigate that immediately. And it absolutely should not be the example we set for young girls on this app.
Hey, so they're saying the quiet part out loud. They want us back in the home, producing babies, making dinner, as women should be. Ugh. Lindsay Burke, the same person who authored this garbage, admitting that this was their plan all along, was also the same person who authored the education section of Project 2025, which, in combination with the Big Beautiful Bill and the Department of Education being basically blown to smithereens, a lot of what was in Project 2025 is already in motion. Not to mention, people are now de-incentivized to become teachers, nurses, fields that are typically dominated by women because they get less money in student loans. This is all on purpose. And why do they care so much about the declining birth rate? Easy. Number 1, they need more workers to continue to make them billionaires and more people to sell stuff to. And number 2, kids are super expensive and take up a lot of time. So if you're working multiple minimum wage jobs, because we all know that hasn't changed, and you're trying to put food on the table, trying to afford childcare, healthcare, all of those things, you don't really have time to stop and think, maybe this system is bad and I should try to do something about it. And of course they're not going to do anything that would make people actually want to have children on their own free will, like any of these ideas that actually make sense and that other countries have. Instead, they want to force us and put us back in what they believe to be our place. Hey moms, do you really want your daughters growing up in a world where when you tell her she can be anything she wants to be, it's a lie?
So this girl made this post saying, why are men increasingly uninterested in relationships and marriages? I have a secret. It's not the men. It's the women. It's the women. I don't know if you heard this, babe, but the men's is out here fucking turkeys before Thanksgiving. They are raping turkeys, sexually assaulting turkeys, and then the ones who are not sexually assaulting the turkeys are talking about how they enjoy ending the turkey's life with their bare hands. Have you met the men of late? Or of ever? Or of ever? If it were men who are choosing to opt out of marriages and relationships altogether, then why is it that the men are always using that we're going to die alone as a jab to us? Because if they are making the choice to also die alone and also be by themselves, would they not be happy with their choice and shut the fuck up? But they are not happy with their choices because they're not shutting the fuck up. If they see a woman on the internet enjoying their life, being single and carefree, you're a cat. You're gonna be an old cat lady. You're gonna die by yourself if you don't find a man and settle down. They keep trying to force us into that space. So it's not the women, it's not the men who are losing interest. It's the women, babe. It's the women. They no longer want to do what is required. No one wants to be Rashida. Someone said in order to be, in a happy marriage or in a loving marriage, that you basically have to be a stupid bitch that's basically willing to deal with anything, whether it's being overworked in your marriage, or if it's just tolerating shit like constant cheating and infidelity and just shit that men do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just have to be willing to put up with the bullshit to keep a man. Like, they're like, oh, women can't keep men anymore. They keep saying that women can no longer keep men. But I want us to start critically thinking here, right? Because back in the day when women stayed in relationships and would literally put up with quite literally anything to have a husband, it was out of a need, right? So if you no longer need someone or something to survive and you stop going after that thing, could it be because that thing just wasn't beneficial to you? And women have evolved over the last couple of decades. We've grown, we're more independent, and we're capable, a lot more capable than our male counterparts who wanted to give us credit for. So now that we're proven to be more independent, they themselves are refusing to also evolve with us, so they can stay where they're at. And I saw another young man make a video about this same post, and what's so funny about it is that he said himself that he does not believe in the Bible, but he quoted a verse in the Bible about it. You see what I'm saying? You see the bullshit and the disconnect, that they use the Bible as to why women should be doing and behaving a certain way, but at the very same time, he doesn't believe in the Bible. Interesting, right? Okay.
So some of you guys get riled up when you hear women say that they don't want to get married, and I wonder why that is. Why do you get riled up? Why do you get angry when you hear some women say they don't want to get married? First of all, marriage is a choice. It's not a requirement. Not everybody is going to get married. And then second of all, for every 10 women that say they do not want to marry, there is 100 more that want to marry. So why do you as a guy get riled up and get angry when women say, oh, marriage is not something they are contemplating? I am wondering why. Because women have a legitimate choice to say they don't want to get married. Especially in this part of the world where marriage seems to be very patriarchal and somehow works against, female interest. So you can't blame a woman that says, oh man, this marriage thing, I don't think I want to do it. I don't know why you are angry, because if she says she doesn't want to get married, there are lots of other women who want to get married. Just look for one of them and marry. The most important thing is be with somebody who values the institution of marriage. Be with somebody who wants to be with you. Be with somebody who does not mind being a wife. some people think that the burden of being a wife is too much for them to handle or it's too much for them to bear, and that's understandable. So what you should concentrate on is looking for someone who doesn't mind being a wife, who doesn't mind being married. But sometimes I see you guys on the internet, when a woman comes and says, she doesn't want to get married, you guys just, unsheath your swords and begin to... It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary. And I do not also blame women who say they do not want to get married in this part of the world, because marriage in this part of the world, for some reason, undermines the woman. And that is why most people most women sometimes will tell you, no, they don't want to. So when they say they do not want to get married, why do you get riled up? But one thing I do not support is any woman coming out to demonize women who have chosen to marry because they have chosen not to marry. Don't do that. Don't undermine the marriage institution because you do not want to marry. Or do not undermine women who have chosen that path because you have chosen not to. We all have a valid choice to decide or to determine how we want to live. We all do. Your choice is not superior to another person's choice. And dear brothers, no dey vex if woman say you no wan marry. Plenty other women dey wey go marry and they go marry joyfully. Just marry for the right reasons. Marry someone who wants to be married, who is a family-oriented person, who values commitment.
The conversation happening right now around American teen girls and marriage is honestly one of the most revealing cultural moments we have seen in a while. Because what we are watching is not just a statistics, is not just a research chart, is not just Gen Z girls saying marriage isn't for me. What we are witnessing is a generation of young women waking up to realities that the previous generations either tolerated, normalized, or never had the access to compare. And instead of actually addressing those realities, the economies, the gender dynamics, the workload imbalance, the emotional labor, the visible consequences of bad marriages, mainstream media has somehow jumped to what might be the most unserious explanation possible. Not enough fairy tale movies. Imagine being so disconnected from what young women are actually saying, actually experiencing, and actually fearing, that you may blame the drop in marriage, expectation on Disney princess disappearing, not on rising rents, not on students' loans, not on the collapsing middle class, not on the fact that the childbirth in America is one of the most expensive medical events someone can go through, not on the endless stories of women doing 80% of the childcare, 70% of the homework, and 90% of the emotional labor, not on decades of women telling their younger sisters, cousins, daughters, nieces, make sure you marry the right man, because if you don't, your life becomes twice as hard. No, forget all that. We are apparently supposed to believe that it's Esau's fault. The numbers themselves speak volumes. A drop from 83% of 12th grade girls expecting to marry in 1993 down to barely 61% today. Meanwhile, the boys are more optimistic than the girls for the first time. And that comparison alone is telling. Why would boys still want marriage? Why girls are walking away from it? Why would one group hold on to the dream while the other increasingly see it as a risk? Well, here is the uncomfortable truth. Because culturally, marriage still benefits men more than it benefits women. And Gen Z, girls are the first generation to grow up with unrestricted access to the internet, to content creators detailing the reality of their marriages, to TikToks and podcasts where women confess things previous generation kept silent. They are seeing behind the curtain. This generation watch their mothers struggle. They watch women burn out. They watch weaponized incompetency become a trending phrase because so many women are realizing at the same exact time that their husband wasn't too busy or forgetful. They were strategically avoiding responsibilities because they knew their wives would pick up the slack. They watch influencers show perfect homes while also admitting privately that their husbands can't do basic things without instructions. They watch women on YouTube crying about being tired, overwhelmed, unsupported, and regretting motherhood, but too ashamed to say it publicly. They watch couples therapists openly say that most men come into therapy expecting their wives to manage their emotions and their household and their kids, and then get confused when the women hit their breaking point. Jay-Z girls are watching all of this. They are listening, they are paying attention, and instead of dreaming about happily ever after, they are asking themselves, why would I sign up for that? Why would I hand over my freedom, my time, my ambition, my mental peace just to end up doing the majority of the labor in a partnership that's supposed to be equal? And you know what is funny? When the news anchor said that girls are leaving marriage, the immediate response from the panel was men need to step it up. And yet, in the same breath, they refuse to talk about why. They refuse to list even one actual reason why young women are shifting away. They skipped over the realities that make marriage unappealing. They didn't discuss the model economy where both partners have to work full-time but only one usually gets the luxury of acting like they don't. They didn't discuss the rising cost of living, the fact that many teens don't see home ownership as achievable unless they are single and disciplined. They didn't discuss the 50% divorce rate, the countless stories of husbands who become another dependent instead of a partner. They didn't talk about the mortality rate, pregnancy complications, or the fact that teens literally watch influencers. Moms give warning videos about childcare taking over the entire existence. Instead, they said girls hasn't gotten enough fairy tales. This is what happens when you try to diagnose a cultural shift without listening to the people actually making the shift. Teen girls hasn't living in a fantasy. They are living in hyperreality. They are scrolling through thousands of real stories at any given time. They are seeing relationship breakdowns live on TikTok. They are witnessing what happens when a wife suddenly stops doing all the invisible labor. The house collapses. They are watching men publicly admit that they don't want to do choices, that they don't want women to be the emotional caretakers, the therapists, the mothers, the managers of everything. If anything, social media didn't ruin marriage, it simply reviewed marriage. And once something is reviewed, you can't unsee it. Let's talk about the economies because there is another major piece the media conveniently avoids. We are living in an era where two full-time incomes barely keep a family afloat. Groceries are expensive, rent is outrageous, utilities, childcare, healthcare, everything costs more and wages haven't caught up. Young people understand that marriage isn't just about romance anymore, it's about survival, and for a lot of girls, the math simply doesn't math. Why married early when you can build your own stability first? Why tie your financial identity to someone when you can develop your own? Why risk becoming the one who sacrifices their career if the childcare burden defaults onto you? And that is the part the media doesn't want to admit. Marriage often becomes the moment a woman's life becomes harder, not easier. There is research showing women's happiness drops after marriage, while men increases. Women's health declines after marriage, men's improves. Women take on more homework even when they earn more. And despite the facts being widely available, the narrative still tries to pin the decline of marriage on Disney movies disappearing. Teen girls aren't delusional, they are observant. They are watching their older sisters choose self-improvement over settling. They are seeing women travel, work, start businesses, build careers, and remain single without shame. They are watching influencers talk about having peace, rest, independency, things that many married women quietly crave but rarely talk about publicly. They are learning from the stories of divorcees who say, if I had waited and focused on myself, I would have chosen differently. They are watching women who regret rushing marriage because society told them to. These girls aren't rejecting love, they are rejecting struggle. They are rejecting the fashion of marriage that drains women while uplifting men. They are rejecting the pressure to sacrifice themselves for a relationship that might not give them what they give it. They are rejecting the outdated expectation that their purpose is to support a man rather than build a life they control. And here's another layer. Boys still want marriage because society tells boys that marriage benefits them. They are not told they will get a companionship, stability, sex, emotional support, someone to manage their life, someone to raise their kids. But girls are told marriage is hard work, endless work and usually thankless work. They are told they will lose their freedom, they will lose their identity, they will become the default parents, they will be blamed for the home, the kids, the emotional climate, everything. When one group sees marriage as a blessing and the other see it as a burden, the outcome is predictable. What the media truly fears is the fact that girls are making decisions based on data and evidences, not fantasy. They are not buying into the narrative that marriage is the ultimate prize. They are not buying into the script that says adulthood equals wedding, baby exhaustion. They are not buying the ideas that suffering is noble or that sacrificing their goals is romantic. The modern teen girl sees marriage as a choice, not a milestone, a partnership, not a duty, a possibility, not a requirement. And when you give people the ability to choose freely, they choose differently. What is happening isn't a crisis, it's a correction. Teen girls are rewriting the rules, and if society truly wants them to believe in marriage again, then maybe the answer isn't more princess movies. Maybe it's creating marriages worth believing in. Partnership where the labor is shared, the emotional load is balanced, the respect is mutual, and the woman's life doesn't shrink the moment she says I do. Until then, the trend will continue, and no amount of fairy tales will fix what reality has already exposed.
So, lovies, if you have watched up to this extent, thank you so much for all the love and support. Please leave your own thought in the comment section of what you think, and I will see you, lovies, when I upload the next one.